The inconsistency, really, between Sir Keir Starmer's statement that there should be a serious vote before any form of military action, that he would pass legislation. I think he said this in 2020. He would pass legislation to say that military action could only be taken if a lawful case was made and there was a viable objective and there was consent from Parliament. And yet he sees no inconsistency with David Cameron's attack on the Houthis in Yemen, and his reasoning is that this would be an instance where Parliament had to take where the Prime Minister had to take a decision, and this was, in Rishi Sunak's words, self-defence, and that there were no boots on the grounds. Starmer goes on to talk about demanding a sustainable ceasefire in Gaza involving an immediate truce and the release of hostages. The problem is this sustainable truce, this ceasefire, is all about it. That cannot be the objective. The objective has to be a sustainable peace, not a sustainable ceasefire, a sustainable peace. And that means setting up the process for maintaining that peace, setting up the political machinery to ensure that there is parity between Israel and Palestine, setting up effectively the two-state solution or an alternative that so far hasn't been advanced or accepted. Monsieur Macron's idea that there should be an immediate truce without a caveat is again leading. It's living in a fantasy world where we're trying to anticipate and demand solutions to the process. We can't really do that. That's not within our power. And calling for a specific action within that process seems to me to be absurd. There are things that we can call for and demand which are within the scope of our getting. Things like the access to the hostages by the Red Cross or the Red Crescent. Things like opening the gates and ensuring that Israel demonstrates its commitment to civilized principles by offering refugee status, by offering immediate hospital support to people suffering so badly in Gaza. Those things are immediately sustainable. And without this gesture, I think Israel is in a much weaker position. It's in their interests as well as in the interests of Gaza. I think it's also important that aid is immediately given to Gaza, that aid is allowed in not only from outside organizations and other countries, but also from Israel. Israel should be participating in this aid, and I'm sure there are plenty of Israelis who want to. So that is something we can call for. We can also call for peace and look to ways to ensure that a political situation is set up that will support peace. But a ceasefire, we should have learnt from the past that a ceasefire is not an end in itself. A ceasefire is basically what happened at the end of World War I. And all we have to do is read the oh, I've got it over here. Where are we now? I'm afraid it's in the wrong language. The Economic Consequences of the Peace by John Maynard Keynes. But this tells you how utterly useless is a ceasefire as an end result. It's not an end result, it's a process. A ceasefire might be part of a truce, a ceasefire might be part of a process towards peace, but ultimately it's about peace. And how that is achieved, whether by a ceasefire or a surrender, it's about setting up the instruments of peace. And nobody seems to be talking about that.